Welcome back to the shop. Clay's been over at my grandfather's shop digging around through the tools and bringing back some of the stuff that's, worth keeping. And amongst the many things he's brought back has been, this T-Bevel. And the T-Bevel is a very interesting tool. Not because this is old and all metal. They still make new ones. I've got, just a cheapo one here. And this is also a cheap one, but I've also got an electronic one. We'll sort of demonstrate it a little bit, but I struggled with making this video at first because I couldn't remember the name of it. But I keep this book in the shop. Got it for $2, but I think I got it for $1 from the flea market years ago. And occasionally I don't remember, the difference between name of this tool or that tool. And then this is sometimes helpful for it. I mean, the internet is great, but every once in a while it's nice to just flip open a book. So we've got this T-Bevel, and the T-Bevel can do two things, as this sort of indicates. It can either find angles that exist, or you can determine an angle and then transfer it somewhere else. Meaning that you could, if you had a protractor, which I do not have a protractor, I'm sorry, but you could take your T-Bevel and bring it over to your, just like it's indicating here, and then transfer that angle somewhere else. But let me show you, give you an example of how it works. So this is just a press plate off of my stand, and we can see that it looks like, you might assume that it's 45 degrees, but it really isn't. I assume that it might be 45 degrees, but that chamfer in the middle sort of throws you off. So this square doesn't give me a good idea of what's going on because of the curvature in the center here. This, however, doesn't fall victim to that as much. So if I seat that in the corner, tighten it up with my finger, I could bring this over and we can verify that it's really not a true 45. There's a little bit of daylight in between there if you can see the way that it's set off. Sorry for the shakiness. Newer iterations of this tool will probably give us a better idea of what angle this truly is. So this is a really neat tool. I'm not entirely sure of how it works in the sense of how does it reference this smooth surface. So we can see that angle, I'll tighten that down, it's about a half a degree off of 90 degrees. So that would explain the slight gap that we have. Again, hard to articulate on the camera, but there's a little bit of a gap there. So this tool is pretty interesting, but what I want to look at today and what I'd like to clean up today, not that I have a major need to use T-Bevels all the time, is this Stanley tool. And what's novel about this tool is the way that it locks. So unlike this tool, like both these tools, it just has a nut there. In our book, they show a thumb lever, which looks like a nice design. But in this one, it has almost like a wind-up music box kind of thing here, and it works spectacularly. You just give it a little turn, and that is locked in like no other. It is a very, very interesting design in the sense that its precision is, very minute travel does a lot to lock this in. So what I'd like to do is disassemble this, get a better idea of what this mechanism is, and clean this up and put it back in the workbench. Don't have any idea on how to attack this. I could probably unscrew this. And we've got a dog point of some sort. So you can see that. So we've got the the pointed end on that, and we just have a flat head here. So this is a conical washer, if you can see that. And then the mating pair in the bottom, this will slide out. And that's ingenious. It is almost like a brake in the sense that when I screw this in, it's going to, you know, deflect this side into this. So this is a flexure. If you like things like flexures, watch AVE and Ox Tools, and they will go on and on and on at length about that. Yeah, so that's pretty neat. Alright, a brief departure on flexures. I was at work, and I walked by and saw this clamp, and this has a toggle clamp that pushes that flexure down, and it, you know, is similar to, you see that just split relief there, and it is the exact opposite principle of this, the way this works. Instead of it, you know, well, I shouldn't say that, but effectively, like this clamp, yeah, see how it squeezes down with a little bit of inward pressure there? Is, I guess, identical to the way that this works. It depends on whether you're looking at this section or the mechanism as a whole. But I thought that was an outstanding homemade clamp. How neat is that? So, back to this. I think this is going to go to the wire wheel, and then we'll take it to the fiber wheel. So that's after a little wire wheeling. And this, I didn't want a wire wheel. I figured the fiber wheel would do a better job on it. One, because it's thin, and if a wheel catches it, the wire wheel catches it, it would be inclined to bend this, which would not be good. And two, if it caught this, and I wasn't prepared, it would impale me, no doubt. So I'm going to use the fiber wheel. You've seen on the other channels the guys use the fiber wheels. There's a 1-inch wide version and a 2-inch wide version. The arbor sizes are different. This is a 5/8 shaft grinder, slow speed, 1725 RPM. It's a very pleasant machine to run. The other machine is a little faster, but I like using this one. The wide wheels just seem to be my go-to for wider items like this. So that's just a couple seconds on there, and you can see the difference. Again, this isn't horrible, but it doesn't take a lot of work to really bring this back to new. I'm gonna do a small section on this and then finish it up off camera, but we'll show you what kind of finish, what kind of difference that is between, you know, these two sides are roughly identical. We'll see if there's much of a difference after I fiber wheel it. So there's some small imperfections in this, but it is very nice. It's, you know, you can see the sort of polish that's on there, as opposed to that is the finish that you'll get from a wire brush, which is still respectable. But let me just say that with tools, good tools, quality tools, clean up much nicer than crap tools. Crap tools will fight you every inch of the way. And if you're into a project and it's just killing you because it's so hard to clean up, you know, think about what you're cleaning up. Sometimes junk tools are just, you know, sometimes not worth the effort. So we can see that's cleaned up fairly well. US patent 81408. It's 7-1408. Or if that's a date. Now that it's cleaned up, you can see this is manufactured in 2 pieces, and there are pins that you can vaguely make out into that area. So pretty neat process. It might even be, you know, these are 2 ground flat pieces, and there's actually a shim in the middle there. You can, again, sort of make out that distinct color in there. This whole item might blue pretty well. I'm not sure if that's an option or not. Let me think about it. Alright. Well, I just cleaned this up and then blued it and made it look dirty again. I don't like this. I'm gonna go wire wheel this off and then we'll take another crack at this. This is where I mess up. So here it is, the Stanley T-Bevel or sliding bevel. It is just such a neat design with that flexure in there. I think it's probably the best design I've seen. I'm sure the lever ones work pretty well too, but I think it just, looks great. The bluing, again, I probably need some practice with that, but the paint markers have been pretty nice. I probably could have done this with some tester's paint, but I think that worked out pretty well, all in all. I will let this paint cure for a little while, and then I've been using the, the paste wax on most things, but because this has got all these little intricate details, I will probably use some of the CRC corrosion inhibitor and put that on there. It seems to do a pretty good job. Or, conversely, this Teflon silicone, that seems to do a pretty good job. And you just touch them up periodically every couple months when you're out in the shop. You just give them a wipe down, and it seems to stave off the rust in, at least in humid places like Florida. So that's it for today. I hope everybody's doing well, and I hope you have a good weekend. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.